Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to be smoking and reviewing the Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarettes. Now, sadly, these cigarettes are not sold in the United States. However, that doesn't matter because I am currently in Japan, where Gudang Garam sells a couple of their products, the Surya mild being one of them. And I have heard so many good things about the Gudang Garam Surya line. I've heard an insane amount of things about the Surya line. Pretty much every single thing I've heard about the Surya line has been extremely exorbitantly positive. So as such, I am very, very, very excited to give these a review today and to let you guys know what I think of, well, the Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarettes. I don't know if these are the same Surya milds that are sold in Indonesia or just the same Suryas in general that are sold in Indonesia, but either way, I'll take what I can get, you know what I'm saying? And the name implies that these are a more mild cigarette. However, that is not at all the case. These are very much a very, very, very full-flavored cigarette from an American's perspective, at least, because these have 33 milligrams of tar in them and 1.7 milligrams of nicotine in them, which is so heavy for me. It's just insanely heavy for me, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But compared to some of the cigarettes that Gudang Garam sells in Indonesia, some of the hand-rolled, some of the unfiltered clove cigarettes they sell in Indonesia, this is nothing. This really is nothing, because some of those cigarettes can have upwards of 50 milligrams of tar and like 3 milligrams of nicotine. That is just ludicrous, and honestly, I think it would kick my ass. So I am kind of glad that this only has 33 milligrams of tar and only has 1.7 milligrams of nicotine, even though that is quite a lot of both of those anyway, that is for sure. But what are my expectations for, well, the Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarettes? Well, my expectations are pretty simple. Taste-wise, I think I'm going to be getting a very sort of spice-like, sweet clove taste with some sweet tobacco taste in there as well. That's kind of what I'm thinking I'm gonna get taste-wise from this cigarette right here. I've previously tried the Gudang Garam signature milds, and that's kind of the taste I got from those, so I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna get a more similar taste than not from these cigarettes right here. Body-wise, I think the body is just going to be absolutely massive, because I mean, like 33 milligrams of tar and 1.7 milligrams of nicotine. How could the body not be massive? I'm thinking that the airflow is probably going to be pretty wide open, and I'm thinking that the draw is going to be pretty good, but due to the amount of smoke you're getting with the draw is going to have a decent amount of significance to it. And I am thinking that even with the insane amount of tar and even with the insane amount of nicotine, I am thinking that these are going to be pretty smooth cigarettes as a whole, as they are indeed clove cigarettes, you know what I'm saying? Those are pretty much my expectations for, well, the Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarettes. Now, without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and, well, hop right into the packaging of, well, these cigarettes right here. After I go over the packaging, I'm going to go ahead and get the cellophane all off, go ahead and get the pack of cigarettes all opened up, go ahead and let you guys know what the cigarettes look like, what they feel like, and what the quality of them is like. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and get one of the Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarettes all lit up and go ahead and let you guys know what I actually think of, well, these cigarettes right here. But without further ado, as said, we got to go ahead and first off cover the packaging, which I will admit is a pretty nice look. I'm a pretty big fan of this packaging. It kind of reminds me of a sort of simplistic, sort of almost luxury look. It's not the most luxury look I've ever seen, don't get me wrong, and it's certainly not a minimalist look in my opinion, but it definitely seems like they were going for the whole sort of like luxury style, the whole sort of classy luxury style, and honestly, I am a pretty big fan of it, that is for sure. We can see in the middle right here, there is a very nice, very deep, rich red sort of ribbon, which actually stretches all the way around the packaging, as we can see just like that. And then on either side of the red ribbon, there is just a gold line just stretching all the way up and over the packaging on both sides, as we can see right there. And inside the gold line right here, we can just see there is sort of a very, very, very dark red, almost like wine colored line stretching all the way up and over the packaging once again, kind of like a ribbon or something like that kind of thing. And on either side of the main really dark wine colored line, there are two smaller dark wine colored lines as well that are interrupted in the middle by a little bit of that gold. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. I think the overall background for this packaging is a pretty good look, if I do say so myself, and I think it's really what sets this packaging up to be sort of a, not minimalist per se, but just sort of a simple luxury style piece of packaging, which I am a pretty big fan of, that is for sure. Taking a look at the lid of the cigarettes right here, we can just see the Gudang Garam logo right here and everything like that kind of thing. We can see some trail, so we can see some trail. We can see some train tracks right here on a sort of like navy blue ground or something like that kind of thing. And then I think we can see either like some train houses, train storage facilities or something like that kind of thing, and or maybe like some stables or just garages or something like that kind of thing, not exactly sure. And we can see some mountains in the background with like a fence in the background, and then we can see the sky has that sort of like navy blue layered over it in lines going horizontally over and everything like that kind of thing. I think the Gudang Garam logo is a very nice looking logo, even if I don't completely get what it means. In all honesty, I should probably do some research on what the Gudang Garam logo actually means, but I think it is a good looking logo nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? All of the areas in the logo that are not made up of red or that sort of navy blue, such as the sky and the fronts of the garages and the actual tracks themselves of the railroad, are made up of that same gold we see right here. And going around the logo, we can just see there is a very nice navy blue border going all the way around it, but then outside of that navy blue border, there is indeed another border which is in that very nice gold. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Moving below the Gudang Garam logo right here, we can just see it just says Surya Mild right here, with Surya being in very much a cursive font. Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. And that is all in gold with no drop shadow and no borders or anything like that. And then Mild down below is in just normal print font, but it's all in capitals. It's all in capitals. And that is in that same very nice gold as well. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. And that is pretty much all there is to the actual design on the front of the packaging. Moving below the actual design, we can just see there is a black line separating the actual design of the packaging from the warning label right here. And on the warning label, we can just see it talks about like secondhand smoke or something like that kind of thing, or about how smoking is not safe or something like that kind of thing. I can't remember. I translated it before this video, but I can't remember exactly what it says. What I do remember this says, though, because this pack has mild on it, they are indeed required to put a mild sort of, I guess, what's the right way of putting this? A sort of thing that says, hey, look, mild cigarettes do not present any more of a reduced danger than other cigarettes or anything like that kind of thing. Just because it says mild on it does not mean it's any safer than other cigarettes or anything like that kind of thing, which I find pretty amusing in this context, because this is definitely not a mild cigarette by most people's ratings, I would definitely have to say. And I definitely have to say it's definitely that way in Japan, because there are so many cigarettes on the market in Japan which are 1 milligram of tar. This has quite literally 33 times that amount of tar, which is very ludicrous. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, that is for sure. Japan is very much a market that has a lot of light cigarettes and ultralight cigarettes on it, and so calling this a mild one compared to those is just hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But that's pretty much all there is to the front of the packaging. The warning label itself is all in black on a gold background. I do like the look of it. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I really do like that they're not required to like put any like grotesque warning labels or make this where it's like white on black or yellow on black or something like that kind of thing. I like that they can keep the same colors that they use on the rest of the packaging for the warning label. I think that's something that is just so nice, and overall I am a pretty big fan of the front of this packaging. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. From a distance, it definitely is more distinct than not. I definitely have to say, not the most distinct packaging I've ever seen in the world, just simply due to the fact that the colors are a little bit muted. They're a little bit of a darker color. They don't really pop and catch your eyes kind of thing, but I really do like the packaging nonetheless. I think it looks fantastic in hand, and I think it's a very nice, simple, sort of luxury slash classy look, and overall I am certainly a pretty big fan of, well, this packaging, that is for sure. Moving on to the back of the packaging, though, we can see it's pretty much the exact same look as we get on the front, except that the Surya Mild is on the top and the Gudang Garam logo right here is on the bottom, whereas on the front of the packaging it is flipped. Taking a look at the warning label on this side, it's just talking about how you have to be over 20 to smoke cigarettes, and it's illegal to smoke cigarettes if you're under 20 in Japan and everything like that kind of thing. And then I think it probably goes on to talk about something like, let's say, secondhand smoke or something like that kind of thing. I can't remember. I translated it before this video, but I cannot remember what it says in specific, you know what I'm saying? Moving on to, I think, this side of the packaging right here, we can see in black there are some numbers right here. It just says 16 right here, and that is because this pack of cigarettes right here has, well, 16 cigarettes in it. It is not a pack of 20. It is not a pack of 12. It has 16 cigarettes in it. And I want to say that Gudang Garam makes a cigarette that is called the Gudang Garam Surya 16 in Indonesia. I don't know if this cigarette actually has any relation to that cigarette or not. I really have no clue if this is made only for international markets or something like that kind of thing. But either way, I do find it pretty interesting that this is the Gudang Garam Surya Mild 16 kind of thing. And while they do make a Gudang Garam Surya 16 in Indonesia, I wonder if they're the same cigarette. I really have no clue. Although if y'all know for sure, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't know myself in all honesty, and I couldn't find any information online telling me whether they were the same or not in all honesty either. We can see some kanji right here in black on this very nice gold background, you know what I'm saying? And we can see that kanji pretty much just says something along the lines of, hey, just because there's this much tar and nicotine in it kind of thing, it doesn't mean you're actually gonna get that much tar and nicotine in your lungs, just simply because it depends on how you smoke it kind of thing. If you only take one puff of the cigarette, then you're only gonna get one puff worth of tar and nicotine. Although, even if you only take one puff, you're probably still gonna get like 0.2 milligrams of nicotine and like 3 milligrams of tar kind of thing. So, I mean, like, I'd probably still get a buzz from taking one hit of this, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. And then we can just see the tar up top being 33 milligrams and the nicotine on the bottom being 1.7 milligrams. Taking a look at the other side of the packaging, we can just see the barcode right here, and below the barcode there is a little thing that just says SKM right there. I can't remember what SKM actually stands for, but what I do know it means is that it means that this is indeed a machine rolled, this is a machine rolled clove cigarette. So SKM, I want to say, stands for cigarette Kretek machina or something like that kind of thing. That's kind of what it means kind of thing, because it's basically just a machine rolled filtered clove cigarette. That's basically what the SKM means. And Indonesia has a bunch of different acronyms for different types of cigarettes, for hand rolled Kreteks, for just normal cigarettes, for just hand-rolled filtered cigarettes, for hand-rolled filtered Kretek cigarettes, and all that sort of stuff. They have a bunch of different acronyms, but this seems to be the most common one from what I can tell. Just machine-rolled Kretek cigarettes and everything like that kind of thing. Makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Makes sense. Moving on to the rest of this side of the packaging, though, we can just see that in black, it just says manufactured by PT Gudang Garam, and this is all in that very, very, very dark sort of wine color, I definitely have to say. And then there's some more text right there, but I'm not exactly sure what that says. In all honesty, I can't. TBK, that's what it says. It says TBK, manufactured by Gudang Garam at TBK, and then in black, once again, it just says Kediri, Indonesia, which I assume is probably where it is produced. I have no clue, though, in all honesty. And then we can just see in black right here, it just says, or it just has their sort of like, hey, how to recycle this in Japan and everything like that kind of thing. It doesn't really say anything. It's just talking about how to recycle the cellophane and how to throw away the cellophane and how to throw away the pack and how to recycle the pack and everything like that kind of thing. It's required to have on every Japanese pack of cigarettes, and so that's what it has on there, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much all there is to the sides of the packaging besides the top and the bottom. Moving on to the top of the packaging, we can just see it just says Gudang Garam right here in a very nice gold. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. And actually the top and the top and the bottom of the packaging, along with the side of the packaging right here, if you don't count the label going around, the actual, the cellophane rip tab and everything like that going around, those are actually the only spots that say Gudang Garam on them, which I do find pretty amusing. For the longest time, I thought the Surya Mild was its own brand kind of thing. I thought the Surya Mild was its own brand. Maybe it was owned by Gudang Garam, but I thought it was its own like individual thing kind of thing, like how I want to say L&M is owned by Philip Morris, but it's not Philip Morris branded kind of thing. It's L&M branded because it's L&M. I thought Surya was the same way, but I was completely mistaken. These are the Gudang Garam Surya Milds, not just the Surya Milds, although I can totally see why people just refer to them as the Surya Milds, because I don't think any other manufacturer is creating any cigarettes named Surya. But We can just see the Gudang Garam logo right here in a very nice text, I will admit. Almost, I definitely have to say, like bold Times New Roman, that is for sure. And it's on that very nice red ribbon. And then we can just see the gold on either side with the wine-colored ribbons going up and over as well. And I'm a pretty big fan of what they did with the top of the packaging. I really like seeing that the ribbon just stretches all the way around the top of the packaging and everything like that kind of thing. And overall, I am a pretty big fan of that. That is for sure. So certainly no complaints on my behalf. Moving on to the bottom of the packaging, though, we can see it's exactly the same as the top, except sadly, of course, the lines don't stretch around because they are rudely interrupted by the warning label right here, which is a little bit of a shame, I ain't gonna lie. But I mean, like, it is what it is kind of thing. It's still a better look than not. And there are also some numbers on the bottom of the packaging, which I assume are either the product code or the production code or the manufacturing code or something like that. I think the numbers on the bottom of the packaging, if I can read them, because they're pressed in there, they're not like printed on there or anything like that kind of thing. So if I can read them properly, are 61110222. If you guys know what that means, please let me know in the comments down below. I really have no clue. But that's pretty much all there is to the packaging. Overall, I'm a pretty big fan of the Gudang Garam Surya mild packaging. I think it's a very nice sort of simple, classy look. It's not the most luxury look. It's not the most simple look. It's not the most classy look I've ever seen kind of thing, but I think it looks great in your hand. It's definitely more distinct from a distance than not. That is for sure. These were instantly recognizable on the shelf for me as a Gudang Garam product because it's the iconic Gudang Garam color scheme and everything like that kind of thing. And I do definitely think that these are more distinct from a distance than not, although not as distinct as some cigarettes, just simply because of the muted colors. But I definitely still think that the packaging is a fantastic look, and overall, it might not be my favorite packaging in the world, but it's definitely far above average in my personal opinion. But now, without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and rip the cellophane all off, and now it is time for me to go ahead and actually let you guys know what the cigarettes look like, what they feel like, and what the quality of them is like after I get the packaging all off and everything like that kind of thing, and let you guys know what the quality of the pack is just real quick, you know what I'm saying, just real quick. But one thing I do want to mention that I didn't mention when I was actually covering the actual design of the packaging itself and everything like that is that the cellophane rip tab says Gudang Garam, Gudang Garam, Gudang Garam over and over and over again with a little bit of a dot in between, which is a pretty funny thing. And the rip tab in general is in that very dark wine as well, which is pretty amusing, I ain't gonna lie. Let's just go ahead and rip that all off, and let's go ahead and get this cellophane off as well. And wow, right off the bat, these smell, I can smell these through the pack, and they smell damn amazing. Wow. Wow, they smell literally like Clove apple cider. These smell a lot like the Gudang Garam signature milds that I've tried before, and I definitely think they're probably going to taste the same. It's probably just going to taste even better because they got even more tar and even more nicotine in them, you know what I'm saying? That's the hope, you know what I'm saying? That's the hope. But wow, these smell amazing, and you can just smell them through the pack and through the foil. Wow, these smell so good, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But the packaging as a whole is really good quality. Yeah, I really do have no complaints on my behalf. It is really good quality as a whole. There's no sort of anything bulging out or anything like that kind of thing. There's no pieces of the cardboard sticking out from being cut a little bit wrong or something like that kind of thing. It's pretty good quality as a whole, don't get me wrong. The overall texture of the pack is very much just printed paperboard kind of thing. There's no embossment, there's no recessment, there's no sort of texture changes or anything like that kind of thing. But I don't think this pack needs it kind of thing. I don't think this pack needs it. I think this pack stands on its own, and I think if they added that sort of stuff, it would kind of take away from the packaging, take away from the sort of luxury slash classy slash simple look, and I think it would make it just a little bit cheesy kind of thing, and I don't think that would be very good. In all honesty, I think it would actually be worse than it is at the moment, which I think it's pretty good. I don't think that this packaging is bad. I phrased that really badly. Y'all know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this packaging all opened up, and let's go and take a look at what the foil looks like on the inside of the lid right here. We can just see there's really not much. It's just like a Gudang Garam ribbon or something like that kind of thing. Not exactly sure what's on the inside of the ribbon or what's on the inside of the lid. And then we can just see that the actual cigarette insert for this pack is just a very nice gold, matching the gold down here. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. And then we can see the foil right here. And wow, taking a look at the foil real quick, this has got to be some of the best looking foil I have ever seen. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This foil is actually beautiful. We can just see that there are diamonds going all the way across the foil in gold, and some of them have lines going through them horizontally, and some of them have lines going through them vertically, and man, it's getting a little bit breezy. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But wow, this is just so beautiful. This is beautiful. And then in the center of the foil right here, we can just see there's a triangle right here with lines. Oh no, there's no lines. It's just dots inside that triangle right here, and then it just says in cursive GG right there, which I assume either stands for good game, we won, good game, we beat lung cancer, good game, you lost to lung cancer, or probably more than likely a Gudang Garam. That's probably what it stands for in all honesty. But wow, this foil is actually beautiful. This is some of the best looking foil I have ever seen. Wow, that really took me off guard. I really wasn't expecting this foil to be that good. I am so used to lazy cigarette foil, but man, this is not lazy cigarette foil. This is some beautiful foil right here. I love the look of this stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I really do love the look of this stuff. Let's go ahead and get this pack all opened up though. And let's go ahead and get one of the Gudang Garam Surya mild cigarettes all out. And go ahead and take a look at what the cigarettes look like, what they feel like, and what the quality of them is like. And wow, these look so cool right off the bat. And wow, this literally smells. This smells like, I don't know what it is, but when I was a kid, I used to go into this store specifically during fall. And this is like a grocery store in my area, in like a bougie area kind of thing in fall, because they always had free samples of apple cider if you came into the store. And you could get like a huge cup of apple cider for free kind of thing. It was the best. And it was like the best apple cider on earth. It was like really warm, really good, really strongly tasting apple cider. Amazing stuff. Still some of the best apple cider I've ever had, and it was a free sample kind of thing. And I bought their apple cider like in a jug kind of thing. It was never as good as it was at the store. These smell like that apple cider. That's what these smell like. These smell like that apple cider. It's like a mix of like apple, cinnamon, clove, and then like maybe like sort of like nutmeggy smell as well, or something like that kind of thing. Like, of course, I don't think there's any nutmeg in the cigarettes, because if you smoke nutmeg, you're gonna not have a very good time, I ain't gonna lie. But it does smell so much like incense, so much like spices, and I think it really is just absolutely fantastic. I love the smell of these cigarettes, and I haven't even covered the look of the cigarettes yet. I really still need to cover the look of the cigarettes. We can just see the top of the cigarette right here with the filter is very much just sort of a, it's not a classic cork style filter by any means kind of thing. It definitely is a little bit different than the norm, that is for sure. It is, of course, still using those same sort of classic cork style filter colors, but it feels like more, it's not as organized as a cork style filter. Like, I'm not sure how to describe it, in all honesty. I'm really not sure how to describe it. It's just kind of a brown filter with some light areas, some dark areas, kind of flowing, almost like a river or something like that kind of thing. I'm not really exactly sure how to describe the filter of this cigarette, but it's definitely not a normal cork style filter, but it still looks fantastic nonetheless. I really do like how this filter looks, and it's very unique. I've never really seen a filter like this before, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Then we can just see on the filter itself, there is a gold line right here, and then inside the gold line, there is a red line right there. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. A pretty good look if I do say so myself. And then we can see on the cigarette itself, it just says Surya Gudang Garam right there in red, and then in blue we get the Gudang Garam logo right there. This has got to be one of the first cigarettes I have ever seen that uses multicolored ink on the actual cigarette itself. I don't think I've ever seen, I think I maybe have seen 1 or 2 cigarettes do that before. That is something that I never see, in all honesty. I don't know if it's just American companies cheaping out or what kind of thing, but that is so cool. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I love seeing that. That is just so cool. That is just so cool. I love the Surya being in the cursive with the Gudang Garam logo right there, all in red, and then in navy or slash just, I guess, just normal blue kind of thing. It's just got the Gudang Garam logo right there. I love seeing that. Overall, this cigarette as a whole is definitely not like, I was about to say, because I was thinking like, okay, the filter itself isn't really the most unique look in the world kind of thing, but the cigarette itself is both a extremely unique look and not a really unique look at the same time kind of thing. Like, it is definitely more unique than not, but if you just kind of looked at it at a glance, it would look pretty normal kind of thing. Whereas I've smoked some cigarettes before where the filters literally have palm trees and mountains on them and everything like that kind of thing. That is an extremely unique look that if you kind of have to make you kind of have to do a double take on it kind of thing. And this is very much the same way. To really get the full details of the cigarette, you really have to actually take a double take. And I think this cigarette looks fantastic. I love the effort they put into actually putting onto the cigarette itself something that's going to be smoked. I love the effort and they put in and everything like that kind of thing. It's something I really appreciate. And yeah, overall, this looks to be fantastic. I ain't gonna lie, that is for sure. Is there any perforation on the filter? I don't expect there to be, but who knows, there might be. And from what I can tell, there is indeed no lines of perforation on the filter. Taking a look at the blend of tobacco on the inside, it is very much, in my opinion, a darker blend of tobacco. I definitely have to say this is definitely a dark blend of tobacco, probably helped by that clove as well, by the cloves on the inside of the cigarette as well. Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. But overall, yeah, wow. These smell absolutely fantastic. They look absolutely fantastic. The packaging looks absolutely fantastic. And overall, I am thinking that these are going to be some amazing, amazing, amazing cigarettes. As said, they smell like clove apple cider with cinnamon in it and maybe a little bit of nutmeg. These smell very similar to the Gudang Garam signature milds I tried previously, I will admit, but I'm thinking the taste is going to be a little bit more intense than those, and I am just so excited to try these for the first time and to let you guys know what I actually think of them. I do think, without further ado though, as the wind keeps getting stronger and stronger, it is now time for me to go ahead and get my lighter out of my pocket. And it is now time for me to go ahead and, first off, before I take my first couple hits of the cigarette, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a sip of water real quick, because who knows, this might be a little bit rough, and I just want to have some water in my system just in case beforehand. But man, oh man. Alrighty, y'all. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get my Gudang Garam Surya mild clove cigarette from Japan, all lit up, and go ahead and see how it actually is. Man, I'm so hyped to try this. I am so hyped to try this. And one thing I forgot to mention, there is definitely some tar stains on this, but that's pretty normal for pretty heavy clove cigarettes, that is for sure. Without further ado though, let's go ahead and get this lit up. Yes sir, you know what I'm saying? And right off the bat, my mouth is already feeling numb. The tip of the cigarette, I feel like, is definitely sweetened as well. I feel like the tip of the cigarette is definitely sweetened because I'm getting a really, really, really strong sweet taste on my lips. So I definitely do feel like the tip of the cigarette is definitely sweetened kind of thing. I'm getting a super, super, super sweet taste on my lips right now. Makes sense, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that is definitely recognizably the tip of the cigarette being sweetened, that is for sure, but certainly no complaints on my behalf. Wow, that sweet taste is fantastic. It's almost like a sort of cinnamon, sort of like spice, sort of sweet taste. It's like cinnamon and spice kind of, it's like cinnamon French toast, or like cinnamon, like cinnamon and butter toast kind of thing. That's what the sort of taste on the actual filter itself is like. And the taste when you actually take a hit off the cigarette and everything like that kind of thing is honestly absolutely fantastic. It is not as sweet as I was expecting though. You do get a very, very, very nice, very intense. This is definitely very much a full flavored cigarette. It is not a mild cigarette by any means. The taste is all up in your face kind of thing. I definitely have to say the taste right off the bat is just so overwhelming. You can barely taste any tobacco taste at all. It is very much a sort of clove spice taste. I definitely have to say you get that clove taste in there, probably number one being the most intense taste kind of thing is that clove taste. Then you get sort of a cinnamon taste. Then you get that sort of sugar on your lips. And then you get sort of a nutmeggy sort of taste as well, or some other sort of spice taste in there as well kind of thing, and then maybe you get a little bit of sort of a tobacco taste in the back of your throat. Overall, this cigarette is fantastic. It is so sweet though. This cigarette is so sweet. Wow. This cigarette is wow. It is so good. And of course, it's a Kretek, so it's crackling, you know what I'm saying? Wow, it is so good. It is so good. And it's a little bit rougher than I was expecting as well. It's definitely not as smooth as I was expecting, but I mean, like, hey, 33 milligrams of tar, 1.7 milligrams of nicotine, that'll do it, you know what I'm saying? That will certainly do it. But man, this is fantastic. This really is so good, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This is like candy. This is like candy to me kind of thing. Let's go and test the body real quick. Body, ooh, that was a little bit rough. I feel like I could burp too. Excuse me. But the body is actually surprisingly, and I think I might have lit this badly, or maybe it was rolled badly or something like that. I might have to get this relit. I'm gonna just take another hit just to try to not have to relight it. Or maybe I've been trying to ash it too much. I don't know, in all honesty. This cigarette, though, is definitely falling apart just a little bit. I don't know what it is, but as we can tell, my voice is kind of going in and out right now because these cigarettes are just that rough. It's not rough like in the back of your throat, like super harsh kind of thing, but it's definitely like drying out my mouth. It's that kind of rough kind of thing. It's a very pleasant roughness though. And while you do get some of that typical sort of cigarette roughness in the back of your throat, it is very much smoothed out by that clove, by the clove, which is making my mouth, in all honesty, very, very, very numb right now. Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. Nope, and I just ashed that on the ground by accident. Just gonna go and just ash the rest of that, and there we go. Cigarette has recovered. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. I'm thinking, if I had to guess, these might be a cigarette that you want to pack. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the comments down below whether you're supposed to pack these or not. I really do have no clue. But overall, fantastic. The body was surprisingly small, but I'm going to go and test the body one more time. It might have just been that hit. Yeah, body is actually surprisingly small. And the draw is actually surprisingly small as well. Like, the airflow is open, but I feel like the filter itself is like the airflow itself going through the tobacco and the clove itself and everything like that kind of thing is very much open kind of thing. It's definitely not a super constricted draw by any means, but I definitely have to say the filter is probably just a little bit tighter than normal filters I'm used to, which give this cigarette a little bit of significance because the draw is just a little bit tighter than I am used to, along with just the roughness and honestly just the tar and the taste and everything like that. This is a very significant cigarette, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This is a very significant cigarette to smoke. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Man, this is fantastic, y'all. This really is fantastic. It is rough, but not in the normal way kind of thing. It's rough, but not in a normal way. I can definitely say that if I was to try to smoke this on like any sort of daily basis, try to go through like 10 a day kind of thing, my throat would be ruined for at least the first week or so, and then my throat would get used to it, and then every other cigarette would be super easy to smoke after that. But, and man, my mouth is getting a little bit numb right now, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But, wow, this cigarette is so good. Definitely, I don't even need to think about it really too hard or anything like that. This is one of my favorite cigarettes of all time. Just saying it right now. One of my favorite cigarettes of all time. And I cannot wait to try more Gudang Garam cigarettes in the future, that is for sure. The heaviness, the taste being bold, the roughness. Honestly, I like it all. Even though my throat is dying just a little bit right now, that is for sure. And I'm not really feeling, like I am definitely pretty buzzed right now, I ain't gonna lie, but it's not as intense of a buzz as I was kind of thinking of. And I've only had one other cigarette today. This is my second cigarette of the day, and the first cigarette I smoked was a cigarette with only 0.7 milligrams of nicotine in it kind of thing. So I was expecting this to get me super buzzed, but it's not really getting me super intensely buzzed by any means kind of thing. Like, I am pretty buzzed right now. Maybe I'm just not noticing how truly buzzed I am, but I'm not feeling as buzzed as I thought I was going to. Interesting, interesting. I will admit, this is not bad at all. I mean, like, not that I expected it to be bad. This is really good, in fact. But, yeah, no, would I buy this again? 100%. Without a doubt, I would totally buy these again. As said, without a doubt, this is one of my favorite cigarettes. Definitely going in at least my top 10. I don't know if it's going in my top 5, but definitely in my top 10, that is for sure. Man, this is so good. I do think, without further ado, though, I don't really have too much else to say about the cigarette, so I think I'm going to go ahead and finish off the cigarette, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts on this cigarette, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and give this cigarette a rating, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know what I actually think. Well, I do suppose. I'll be letting you guys know what I actually think. Yeah, I think this has me a little bit more buzz than I'm noticing, in all honesty. I think it's more of a, like, sort of a back of my head sort of buzz kind of thing, not super up in my face sort of head buzz kind of thing. I think it's that sort of buzz. Yeah, I'm pretty buzzed right now. I am definitely pretty buzzed right now, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But y'all know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give this a rating and let you guys know what my final thoughts are on the Gudang Garam Surya mild cigarettes from Japan. It's so good though. It's so good though. I think the most surprising thing about this cigarette wasn't really the taste. I kind of expected the taste I got. It was that the draw is honestly a little bit less than what I was expecting. I was expecting the draw to be a little bit more open, but it's really not, in all honesty. That is very surprising, and that is definitely probably my most unexpected thing about this cigarette right here, and also how long it's been smoking as well. This cigarette has been smoking for a good amount of time, that is for sure. And smelling the smoke as well, the smoke actually smells fantastic, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This is one of those rare cigarettes where I would have zero issue with smoking it inside my bedroom or something like that kind of thing. I usually don't like to smoke inside my bedroom unless it's a Clove cigarette, because Clove cigarettes smell just so good. And this is definitely a cigarette that I would not mind smoking in my bedroom, that is for sure. Man, oh man, though. I'm gonna go ahead and just stub this out on the ashtray I have next to me real quick. And I'm just gonna go and dump it in the ashtray. And now, without further ado, it is now time for me to go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts on, well, the Gudang Garam Surya mild Clove cigarettes from Japan. What are my overall thoughts on this cigarette? I think the packaging is great. It's a very nice, simple, sort of luxury, classy look that, while it might not be the most distinct thing in the world from a distance, it is still much more distinct than not, and I think it looks fantastic in my hand. I love how the packaging looks, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I don't think it's the best packaging I've ever seen, but I do still think it is great packaging nonetheless, and even though I'm not from Indonesia, this packaging is definitely still pretty iconic, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I've been doing a lot of research on the Gudang Garam lineup for a little bit, and because I've been doing that research, the packaging of this specific cigarette right here, which seems to me like it's one of the most, one of the more popular Gudang Garams sold, has become pretty iconic, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. So I definitely have to say, this looks great in my hand. It doesn't just look great online, it looks great in real life too, kind of thing. And it's sort of a simple, classy look. And overall, as I said, it's not the best packaging I've ever seen, but it's still fantastic nonetheless. And I really, really, really do love this packaging, I ain't gonna lie. I think it's a fantastic look, that is for sure. I definitely have to say, the cigarettes themselves look, wow. It's getting really windy right now. The cigarettes themselves look fantastic. The filter itself is a very basic yet also sort of very interesting look, just simply because it's got the same colors as a normal cork style filter, but it's not a normal cork style filter. And then we can see multicolored Gudang Garam logo right here. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. I love seeing that, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. One of the first cigarettes I think I've ever smoked with a multicolored ink on the actual cigarette itself. I love that, and I love how the cigarettes look. I love how the packaging looks. I think it's fantastic. And even more than the packaging, even more than how the cigarettes look, I love the smoking experience. The taste is very much a sort of clove, cinnamon, apple taste with maybe a little bit of nutmeg in there or something like that as well, kind of thing. Pretty much exactly what I expected. It tastes a lot like the Gudang Garam signature mild, except just more intense kind of thing. The milds I thought were already pretty intense as is, and the taste from this is even more bold, even more intense, and I love it. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. These are definitely better than the Gudang Garam signature milds, just simply because the taste is just so intense and everything like that kind of thing. And that's not to say the Gudang Garam signature milds are bad. They're certainly not bad. They are still fantastic cigarettes by all means. But this is just better because it's just more intense. The body was surprisingly small, though. The body was surprisingly small, I will admit. I was not expecting the body to be that small. Clove cigarettes usually have a pretty big body, and this cigarette actually did have a smaller body than not, which was a little bit surprising, I will admit. But also, I didn't really take the biggest hits in the world because, honestly, the cigarette is pretty rough. The cigarette really is pretty rough, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. And not rough in a normal sort of cigarette way where it's kind of like it makes you want to cough kind of thing. It's not really like that at all. It just kind of dries out the back of my throat and just kind of makes my voice just a little bit, a little bit like that. Okay, maybe it does make me want to cough a little bit, but it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, that is for sure. It makes sense for 33 milligrams of tar and 1.7 milligrams of nicotine. The buzz overall has been fantastic, and the airflow is pretty good as a whole, but the draw is surprisingly tight. The draw is surprisingly tight, not in a bad way. Like with some cigarettes, the draw can be too tight kind of thing, and the draw is certainly not too tight on these cigarettes. It's just tighter than I thought it was going to be, but that just gives the cigarette a little bit of significance kind of thing, and honestly, I think it's kind of a good thing kind of thing. I think it's kind of a good thing because my throat would probably actually die if the airflow, if the draw was really any bigger and if I ended up getting more smoke in my mouth kind of thing. I think my throat would be quite a bit more dead than it is right now, that is for sure. Overall though, what is the rating I'm thinking for the Gudang Garam Surya milds? I'm thinking a solid 9.5 out of 10. One of the best ratings I've ever given a cigarette before. And really the only points I can take off of it are that it's not sold in the United States and that it's a little bit rough kind of thing. It's a little bit rough kind of thing. But both of those are kind of, I'm so close to giving it a 10 out of 10. But I think a 9.5 out of 10, definitely a 9.5 out of 10. I've never given a cigarette a 10 out of 10 before. I don't know if I ever will. And this cigarette is one of the closest cigarettes I've ever gotten to giving a cigarette 10 out of 10. I think another thing that kind of leads into the rating as well is that I don't think I could smoke these on any daily basis. I think they're just a little bit too intense for me to smoke on a daily basis. But as a cigarette to smoke just as a treat kind of thing, oh my God, they're amazing kind of thing. They are amazing. Definitely a 9.5 out of 10. I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, do these really deserve a 9.5 out of 10 kind of thing? Or should I give them a 10 out of 10? And I'm thinking 9.5 out of 10 just simply because, honestly, a little bit rough, not sold in the United States, and I can't, there's no way in hell I could smoke these on a daily basis. But these are definitely one of the closest cigarettes that I've ever gotten to getting a 10 out of 10, for me at least, that is for sure. Overall, the Gudang Garam Surya milds are absolutely fantastic. I would most certainly buy these again, and I'm gonna miss these once I go back to the United States, because once this pack is done, I already know I'm gonna want another one, you know what I'm saying? I already know I'm gonna want another one. But you know, I think that's just about all I had to say about the Gudang Garam signature milds, not the signature milds, Surya milds. Getting my words just a little bit jumbled up. I think I'm still a little bit buzzed, that is for sure. I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video where I reviewed the Gudang Garam Surya milds, of course, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. box, and my second channel, all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, y'all. To the next one. Stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?